Join me as I review 2 UX design portfolios from Celia and Chofi Chang. Learn why visuals are crucial and how a missing CTA can hurt your chances of getting hired. Hey, my name is Gytis. I'm a product designer, and throughout my career I've led multiple projects and teams, hired many designers, and reviewed over 100 of UX portfolios. In this video I'll take a role of a hiring manager, show you how I review portfolios and the key aspects that make a great one, so that you can improve your own. Let's take a look at a portfolio from Celia Designs. So just from the name I would guess that it's a studio of design, just by the name of it. So that would be the first impression here. And then I'm a design scientist. UX design is my discipline, life is my lab, the space is the home of my design mind. Right, so I am a scientist. I have science background as well. I'm not a scientist, but have a science background. So that's cool. I can relate to that first sentence, and UX design, that's fine. But then it starts to get a bit interesting and weird for me, at least. UX design is my discipline, life is my lab, space is, it kind of feels like some philosophical, existential, type copy here. So like I'm not sure I'm getting the right vibes. I'm guessing that it for some it might be interesting and maybe they would get it a bit more. I think I get what it the point of it or what it's meaning, but just the way that it's been conveyed it is a bit weird. So okay, I'm kind of curious to see what that design mind would do. Okay, so it just goes to the portfolio. That's fine. Let's go back. Right, so let's take a look at the portfolio itself. So we've got some loading animations here. Don't know why, but people just keep forgetting to add the CTA section at the bottom. Please, if you want to get hired, please make that step easy. At the end of your portfolio, just include a proper size CTA section where I can get your email or some other contact details or form, whatever they may be, but don't make me to go and search for that somewhere else. And plus it kind of feels unfinished as well if you're the last thing is kind of the portfolio piece, because the footer is very small, so that's almost non-existing here. So you need some ending note, so please do add CTA on every page of your portfolio. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Right, so let's click inside. Okay, it's loading. Yeah, while it's loading, obviously I can mention that I've noticed that these portfolio pieces, they only have color, which carries on into the inside page, but generally does not really give me a lot of information. Visuals are a very great way to convey a lot of information in a short amount of time. So I think that visuals should really lead your portfolio, not copy only. Copy is important, but from any of this top text, I cannot really tell anything about what it is, and I need to read into what it is that this is all about. Although it's short enough, but come on, why not use some visuals, some actual screen shots of the product, so I know that whether it's tables, whether it's mobile or web or whatever else, use visuals so that I can have a better idea. Just scrolling through, I would know more, and thus I would click into something that I'm actually interested in rather than me needing to read. Okay, so let's take a look at this whole thing. Right, okay, so product overview and some very illustrative screens. We see the duration and tools, that's fine. Quick links, final prototype, task and user flows, wireframe. I liked the quick links thing to help me just to go to the part that I'm interested in. If I'm only interested in sort of the end result, then maybe there would be a way for me to go to that. Although I don't see it here. Maybe fourth button could be useful, like final designs. But that's good as well. Maybe final prototype is what I need. Okay, it opens up a Figma. No, I don't want to go into Figma. The design brief, okay. problem, project goal, solution, Celia notes. Okay, that's an interesting thing here. Empathic approach. Okay, so yeah, things appearing, so a little bit of the animation part to see, you know, again, the main things like, okay, yeah, this is an interesting way to show it, but fine. Personas, research, feature map. Again, like I'm quite jealous, you know, if people are actually, while they're working, they're able to collect this information, then, you know, that's kudos to you. Although probably most of us go through a majority of these steps, most of it is kind of exchanged in verbal communication through meetings or just some other notes, and that's probably the case for most people. And then you need to obviously go back and then try to get all of that information and then present it in your case study. So it's a lot of work. So I really appreciate people spending the time to create such crafted portfolios. Unfortunately, the reality of the matter is that there's so much here, right? Even scrolling. So yeah, it doesn't seem like that big of a product when you see the high frames. It's pretty much one page here and then maybe some inside pages here, which I cannot see because it's very small. And the prototype, okay, so that, you know, it's cool to have that, although very laggy. Jesus, like, okay, this is very, very long. Right. Okay, so yeah, I kind of got a little bit tired scrolling just through the scrolling. It's good to have an infinite scroll on my mouse so I can kind of go through. Yeah, so again, reality has there is a lot of information here, and I would expect to see that much information for maybe a very big project where you worked like months and months on it. Then that would kind of justify, I guess, the all of it. But yeah, next case study, you know, I can click on it, but I don't know what that next case study will be. Maybe I don't want to click into that. Maybe I want to click into something else. You can just have like the same grid of your whole portfolio at the bottom of that one, so I can, you know, check whichever I want. And I ended up somehow at the 404 page, even though I clicked next. So very interesting. So overall, you know, again, very thorough, very detailed portfolio. So that's cool. For the actual portfolio pieces, you know, that I think Celia is doing probably, you know, good job. Just from the extent of the portfolio pieces, that, you know, seems like that. Although, again, in my mind, somehow seems a bit maybe too long, based on maybe the project scope and scale of it. For big long-term projects, I would maybe hope to see longer case studies like you did, but seeing like only a couple pages or for the website, and then, you know, such a big portfolio, like, I'm not saying that you should not go through all of that work when you're working on it. It's great that you do, but for the presentation purposes, it's just a lot for me to scroll through, and I want to fairly quickly be able to scroll through it and understand your process and so forth. But you know, having such a big scroll, I think that's just maybe a bit of an overkill, at least for me. Nobody, like, I would not read it. I don't think any recruiter would read that whole thing. So I don't know what to do about it. Since you build it out, I think it's good to have it here, but maybe if you are gonna add some new portfolio pieces, maybe make it a bit more concise and more digestible. And the header part, like, I feel I have some mixed feelings here. The spacing feels a bit weird, although I understand why you have it here so you can kind of, you know, deliver one message at a time. But generally, as a recruiter, like this information that's, yeah, a bit too much for me, a bit too weird for me to handle, really. And that's, unfortunate in a way, because I really encourage people to try to speak their mind and convey their personality through their portfolio, but in reality it still needs to be professional and it needs to be fairly generic so that any recruiter for any background can understand it, relate, get the information that they need from it, and so on. So I would maybe reconsider this, get some additional, obviously, thoughts from your peers and maybe recruiters if you can, and kind of maybe reevaluate whether you want to maybe change it a bit to make it a bit more generic, maybe still be able to keep some of that personality here, but you want to be inviting, you want to make me feel comfortable, and so that I understand what it's all about, what you're offering, and I can scroll down and view your portfolios in peace. Because like the portfolio presentation is pretty good here, apart from not having visuals. I think that's a big miss, big opportunity missed, and not having the CTA at the bottom as well. So yeah, that would be my take on this. Let's take a look at the Chofi Chang portfolio piece. So there are no loading animations, nothing like that. So when you like reload it, it just goes to this page, which is fine. And let's take a look. So we've got some nice graphic element here, or I'm assuming that's a logo from the two C's. And so Chofi Chang is a product designer specializing in creating impactful brand identities to enhance seamless user experiences. Okay, so that is something that I would probably read a couple more times, because I get the product design and the user experience part. How that relates exactly to brand identities, I don't know. So again, I'm not an expert in brand design, brand identities. I've done a few in my days, but I would not consider myself expert by no means. So I might be looking at this slightly from a different angle, but when I scroll down, I do see product designs, and then I see something else. So I'm assuming that's going to be related to identity designs and different kinds, I guess. Some photo, imagery, some kind of abstract art, mostly artistic and color driven, I guess. And then we have the CTA at the bottom, and we have some bigger footer here. Okay, that's fine. So the first thing that really kind of caught my eye is this header here, which I don't know, it just looks a bit bigger than it should to me. And again, these are like weird quirks that I would just pick up as I'm going through portfolios. I probably would not spend a lot of time, but just opening up, that immediately kind of draw my eye, and like in a slightly bad way, if you can put it. So that's just something that catches my eye. But if I would look at the projects and those would be like designed properly and look good to my eye, then I would probably dismiss it. But as a first impression, that kind of sticks out to me. And then we have a mix of portfolio pieces. Some are brand identity, some are product design. Again, I would look for product design only, a person who only does product design, whether that's mobile, web apps, whatever. And for me, I'm mostly working with complex data-driven products that usually have tables and similar structures, dashboards, things of that nature. Not so much into illustration world. But if I would have a product that would require maybe some custom illustrations, then that might be a good mix of skills. So product design plus sort of visual aspect. So it would really depend on the product, but just for me, because I don't really work I don't really work very often on illustrative products. So, the half of this portfolio would not really work for me. So let's try and click into a product and just see how the overall structure is laid out. So some, intro text, overview problem. There's some context there, some quotes, research findings. Okay, so we've seen some persona stuff, and then sticky notes, obviously. Okay, some nice screenshots of the actual, paper prototypes. Low fidelity, empathizing, introducing right over, and then, the branding. I'm assuming he done it. And then the final product here. Okay, so this so far looks like onboarding part or onboarding flow. Register and craft your bio. Okay, personalize your experience. Okay, you can do, more things in here as well. Post things. Okay. And just like showing different things, testing things. Okay, so like thus far, fairly thorough, logically laid out portfolio. I don't know whether I would look into it, and how much time I would spend reading it, but it looks serious. It looks like the person knows what they're doing. I would probably just open up a couple more portfolio pieces and just to see how they're different from each other and whether they follow a similar logical pattern, and based on that, just make the first impression of, okay, does this person know what they're doing, what kind of level they're in, and whether they've done relevant experience. These are the things that I'm thinking about. So that's cool. Let's click on the CV. Okay, that opens up a new window with the CV. Click on the about. Okay, and then just one paragraph about her, and then her skills, which is, don't really care about these. I think they're kind of meaningless unless just for the SEO and just findability purposes. Education, I think that could be interesting, but my thinking is, unless you have like some really cool educational background, don't really mention it. Like if it's like some online course you've did that it's not like, it's nothing really super special, then I would probably just skip it and let your work speak for itself. And then if you have some, if you have like master's degrees and whatever other education that you've done that you think would be relevant or interesting, then you can definitely mention that. Yeah, and a few like sentence about her. So I think that's pretty cool, simple portfolio. I think this is a good example of not needing to be anything super fancy with things, like simple layout, but I think she's still able to communicate what she's all about. I can sense like a softer visual approach, and maybe has like a more, that maybe her visual direction, maybe it talks a little bit more about her character. I don't know. Usually when you're building a portfolio, you're trying to communicate a little bit about yourself. If you're, making the portfolio website seem very serious and official, then that's how you present yourself, and you're also speaking to more corporate clients. If you're being a bit more down to earth, a bit more informal, like maybe this is a little bit more towards that side, then maybe you're inviting a little bit more of a startup, low to medium sized businesses, and because you want to maybe have that a little bit more of that, connection with people. So these things are non-verbal cues that is there, and is there to pick for people to pick up. So you need to think about that as well. But generally, pretty good. Again, I would look for someone maybe like niched or specific to the product design. But if I would be looking for a mix of the skill set from, product design and someone who can handle branding or visuals, and the product requires that, then, that would be probably a good candidate for a position like that. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please consider subscribing to my channel. This is most appreciated. If you want me to review your portfolio on the next video, just leave the comment down below here and I'll make sure to include it in the next one.